Today, we're here to mourn the loss of a divisive attraction. One that has been subject to many debates among fandom, but nonetheless is deserving of respect and dignity as it leaves us behind for newer days. And we wait to see what comes next. But that's no reason not to give the passing its due and celebrate it in its life. And as such, let us not just discuss the loss of Fast and the Furious Supercharged, but also its brother, Kong 360 3D, today. But first, roll the intro! The Studio Tour Virtual Attramtions, otherwise known as Kong 360 3D and Fast and the Furious Supercharged. These interesting additions to the Universal Studios Tour hold a peculiar place in theme park history, as they are the onset of a very bizarre new form of simulator technology, the likes of which is unique to Universal and its design sensibilities. Basically, taking one type of ride and turning it into another type of ride entirely. The studio tour itself has been with the park for years, longer than the park itself, in fact. So, to take the person-driven tram tour and turn it into a simulator was a very odd addition that is unlike any other. But, how does such a bizarre idea come to fruition? What's the history behind this weird technology and why it exists? Well, you came to me for the answers. A seal. So, let me give them! This whole story started off the way many amazing tales of history begin. Arson! Okay, maybe not arson per se, as the incident happened due to negligent mistake by a set builder applying shingles to the rooftops of one of the nearby facades. But it did come across from what usually results from arson, fire. One that infamously destroyed a long-standing attraction for the tram tour, the King Kongfrontation. Kongfrontation was a major tourist get for the park, where the guests would come face to face with a gigantic animatronic King Kong attacking the city around them. This was a huge deal for the park's marketing and a major attention getter for the park that had in one incident suddenly gone up in smoke. And with one of Universal's biggest tourist draws out of commission, that led them to ask, oh shit, how do we fix this now? Well, given Universal a few years previously had been responsible for a King Kong remake by Peter Jackson, he was the first person creative went to help on possibly creating some form of upgraded replacement. However... Yeah, I'll do it. But I don't know if I can get my guys at Weta to help on the project. They work in digital effects, not animatronics. Right? Yes. It's a tram ride. Not a simulator. Yes. And suddenly, Universal Creative had to find a way to create a fully digital tram experience. A bizarre assignment, but one they succeeded in formulating with a unique mix of a motion-based platform and a gigantic wraparound screen surrounding the tram. The largest in the world, in fact, at the time. And yes, I know, it's weird to discuss the living at a funeral for the dead, but this is important for the history, okay? And thus, with the design established for how the tram would function in a simulator, now it was on to Jackson and Weta to put together a sequence of some sort starring the Big Ape. This was a massive undertaking, to the point where Weta needed to rent out a warehouse at the Los Angeles International Airport just to put together a testing facility to see how the project came together in renders and notice potential issues. And with everything in place, Kong 360 3D made its entrance aboard the tram tour on July 1st, 2010. On my 14th birthday. Crazy, huh? Anyway, let's get into things. This is Kong 360 3D. The experience begins as we ride up the hill to the show building, as we get a little talk about the ongoing experience from its creator, Peter Jackson. Try the director talking about this experience before you go on is very unique. The only other time I can really think of something like that done is probably E.T. It's pretty dang cool. But as we enter into the large stone tunnel, the tram is sealed to the simulator floor, and the magic begins, taking us back to Skull Island. Who's the one talking here? I mean, they never establish nor show any human characters in this narrative, so who the heck is supposed to be saying that? Did one of the ghosts just come down from Hogwarts or something? What's going on here? The tram drives through the jungle until being knocked aside into some temple ruins, surrounded by large T-Rexes sniffing out their prey. Guys? I think I might be missing some exhibits. Okay, so by doing this, is he destroying the ruins? Or is he improving them by ruining them further? Discussion for another time. Next thing you know, Kong engages the dinos, climbing over the tram to tackle down a Rex like it's nobody's business. And I gotta say, the simulator effects here are pretty masterful. The movements in the tram are just downright amazing. Kong continues his brawl with the giant lizards, who repeatedly spit at us in the face. Rude! And next thing we know, one of the Rexes pulls the mysteriously added extra car in our tram off the cliff, sending the rest of us careening into the jungles below. Okay, I call shenanigans on this. How can vines hold up something as heavy as a tour tram? That's just ridiculous. And let me just say, this scene is filled with so many easy to miss details. From the giant spider hordes below, the intricate setup of trees and branches that support all this, the sight of this sequence while also really feeling like the car is swinging in that vine is just straight up magic. Anyway, save us, giant monkey! Alright, I get it. You're an ape, not a monkey, okay. Sorry. And that was Kong 360 3D. Truly a unique attraction that added a lot to this industry with the interesting innovations it added into things. But we're done talking about what's alive, so now let us mourn the deceased. Fast and the Furious Supercharged. Yet another piece of this park's history now laid to rest. This was a rather divisive attraction, with many loving it for its action, goofy tone, and ridiculousness, while others were less enthusiastic about it due to its choice of ride system, place in the studio tour, and its effects. And to make things clear on where I stand, I'm in the former camp. I like this attraction, it was fun. But I think it's time we go into its history. Funny enough, this was not the first Fast and the Furious attraction for the studio tour, as way back, the park opened an attraction called Fast and the Furious Close Up. This was more of a tech and special effects demonstration, showing the potential for KUKA arms as a tool for special effects. And to say it was...
Look, we got some dance moves for you too. Check it out.
Lame would be putting it mildly. In response, the creators of the Fast and the Furious films, after seeing Kong, went up to the higher-ups and said, That, yes, that, give us that. And given that the original attraction was based on Too Fast, Too Furious, one of the lesser-liked entries in what has now become a storied franchise for the studio, and the only one without the man who basically became its star despite starting as the sideman, yeah, an upgrade of sorts was needed. Especially given the fervor and dedication that the Fast fan base has. Meaning...
Merchandising! Where the real money from the movie is made.
And thus, Fast and Furious Supercharged was born. Most of the R&D work had already been done with Kong, since they were just reusing the same tech. But this time, not only did they make it even bigger, but they brought in the actors from the film to be part of the project. And thus, with everyone on board, Supercharged opened its doors on June 25th, 2015. Sad to say though, it has gone the ways the likes of E.T., Back to the Future, and Terminator before it. This addition to the studio tour brought its final guests in on March 10th of 2025. Universal has stated they do plan to replace it in the near future, but no word has yet dropped on what that replacement might be. But hey, I think it's time to give this attraction the postmortem it deserves. Really, send it off with a smile as we welcome in the new. This is my postmortem of Fast and the Furious Supercharged. In its prime, when the full experience was in place, as many elements were slowly whittled away with time, the show starts a while before entering the main attraction building. as the tour guests and riders see Dominic Toretto's Charger parked on Wilderness Hill, an area of the lot used surprisingly commonly for wilderness scenes. And the guy just left his car there in the middle of the lot. What a jerk. We soon get a call from Director Novak of the FBI, telling us the car belongs to Dominic Toretto, and that we should not get involved due to Toretto being a dangerous criminal that they themselves would handle. You know, that actually does make me realize just how many Universal attractions are run by criminals. Let's see, public endangerment and animal cruelty, destruction of public property, arson and regicide, soul burglary, grand theft, piracy, animal-based terrorism, murder, and God knows too many crimes to count. I'm just saying, compared to some of the other guys, Toretto might have a smaller rap sheet. Anyway, later on in the tour, we get another call from Novak, which is quickly interrupted by...
I'll tell you who I am, boy.
Because The Rock can't go into a project unless he's willing to completely take it over. Just... frick. Hobbs establishes that he's taking over, and that someone aboard our tram is a high-value witness against crime boss Owen Shaw. You know, when Star Tours pulled the important person is in the vehicle idea, they actually showed the important person in the vehicle. This is just lazy.
This is not your jurisdiction.
It is now, stink pickle.
That is such a random insult. Why stink pickle? You can't just take two words together, one of them derogatory, and hope they work as an insult. What the hell? Eventually, we head on into the garage, where Roman and Letty of the family give us a bit more exposition while Roman sexually harasses a random woman in the tram car. I swear, this family needs an HR department. This is ridiculous. Next thing we know, the tram is driven to a random party that just happens to be going down for some reason. And a pretty lame one. I mean, no drinks, no food, just a bunch of people dancing in an empty room. What kind of party is this? The party is interrupted by the FBI carting everyone off before Agent Novak shows up.
Roman Pierce, FBI, don't move.
Okay, what is up with his audio? Yeah, for some reason his voice is just so out of place compared to everyone else. This wasn't always a problem either. For quite some time, his voice was perfectly fine and just like the others, but for some unexplained reason, they just straight up effed up his audio. What the hell is going on here? Damn, don't mess with the family. Vin Diesel mess up your voice more than his own. So, after the rest of the family shows up and Hobbs gets Agent Novak out, never to be seen again, it turns out that Shaw found out our location and is closing in, Toretto telling us to move out into the next area. And thus, the chaos begins.
Which one of you is the witness? Speak now or you all get fried!
Fried? No, sir. Sir. I'd advise against that. Bad idea. I mean, come on, look at me. I'm a runt. I'm tiny. How do you make a full plate of blubber nuggets? Just, come on, please, reconsider. This is a bad idea. Don't do this.
This is our turn.
Or that works too. Next thing we know, we charge through the wall and onto the streets. And considering the fact that the max speed of the trams is only 8 miles an hour, damn, talk about a weak-ass wall. Next thing we know, Roman and Letty throw hooks onto the tour tram and pull it to go so much faster with a pair of freight trucks, leading to a frantic chase sequence down the highway. And let me just say that this whole sequence is pretty rad, with cool things to see on both sides of this. On the right, things are a lot more bombastic in what occurs, including gunfire, missiles, a fight involving a freaking crane, and massive destruction. But on the left, we have some dang impressive stunt work involving a pretty damn neat fistfight on the back of a moving truck. This whole experience is downright crazy. But how does this madness end? I don't know. How about driving through a water treatment plant that, well, sprays you down with water before leaping over a mid-construction bridge and landing down in a storage warehouse, the fumes of nitrous gas blowing out around us before we exit the studio tour. Pretty awesome. Huh. Yeah, I genuinely really enjoyed Supercharged as an Attramtion. I understand why it's divisive, especially as a finale to the studio tour. But it really was a fun and energized experience I enjoyed every time I hopped on board, and I am sad that it is behind us. But hey, in this instance, I'm more than happy to welcome the new, but in doing so, be happy to say a kind-hearted goodbye to what has come before. So long, Supercharged, and thanks for 10 nice years of adventures with the family. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time for more mockery and tomfoolery. Okay, Caraquis. What's your angle this time? You trying to take my title again?
No, I'm far past that. Well, normally my pride wouldn't let a lowly creature such as you hold that title over me. I prefer to have my eyes on the prize over simple personal fulfillment.
So, then, what are you after?
I've recently discovered a massive deposit of Caraquisium. One large enough that when fully excavated will allow me to enact the next stages of my true plan. The only problem is that mining it has proven slow due to the large amount of bedrock surrounding it. Luckily, from my research, it would seem that your ship has technology aboard that could be repurposed into exactly the tools I would need to take what would be years worth of slow, meticulous work by my machines and turn it into mere days.
You're not getting my ship! I don't owe you a goddamn thing after everything you put me through! So I sure as hell am not letting you take the new home of me and my friends!
Oh me, oh my, Tendo, I doubt that. For you see, by the time this charade is all over, you'll be handing it directly over to me. Personally.
Over my dead body! Yeah, what Tendo said!
Let me make this clear, since that will only make this all the more fun to witness. Among those aboard your ship, there is an agent working for me. One with more devices like the one you found on your little dragon friend. More than enough for everyone aboard to get their own. And they have also disabled your ship's teleporter, leaving you with little to no means of escape. They have also disabled your ship's security tapes, making it so they're not recording any security footage, only monitoring current feeds. I also have Bravo currently looking into ways to hack your computer systems to get control of your vessel. Let's face it, Seal. There is no way you or your friends can avoid your fate this time. Because soon, all of you will be working for me.
This isn't over. We'll find your agent and put a stop to this.
Let me just say, Tendo, good luck. I'm excited to see just how you fail to stop this.
So we're gonna tell the others, right? No. We don't want to spread panic or put whoever the infiltrator is on high alert. We need to handle this, just the two of us if we can. Bring in a few others once we know for sure they're on our side. But we can at least tell the other Guardians, shouldn't we? No. Mind control tech is being used here. The infiltrator might be one of them already infected before arriving. Boy, that's smart. Let's get down to the brig and see about scanning the device on Aboy. See if we can get a schematic of it and find a way to disable it. Good idea.
So glad things are more easygoing for now. What was that? Huh. How weird. Huh. Guess what now?